Welcome to the beginner's guide to the end game. So this is going to be where you just defeated Kitava. And one thing that's important that you do type in is type in /passives. Just make sure that you get all of the ones done except for the deal with the bandits. These show all of the quests that if you don't have them completed, go back and do them. It's a free skill point. But right after you defeat Kitava, at the end of the campaign, you talk to Lily Roth and you go to set sail from Oriath, and we're going to show you guys how to do the end game map system. So, in the very beginning, one thing to mention also, your resistances may be completely scuffed, and that's because when you do Kitava, yeah, your resistances get absolutely scuffed. But we're going to skip some of the dialogue, and we're just going to move. And there's a bunch of NPCs that you can talk to, but we really just need to get over to here. And then we're going to get some maps. And I'm going to show you guys some maps, and your goal is to do these maps by killing the boss. That's how you complete it. Kind of like in PoE 2, but you don't have to find these like gold skulled monsters. So now we're gonna have all of these maps. You may have picked up some maps. You can see I already have this one map, Siege. So if I already have a Siege map, I don't want to take another one, because your goal is to complete as many of these different maps as possible, as they will give you a passive point on what's called the Atlas. So if I hold Alt down, you'll see that where it says Atlas map incomplete and bonus objective incomplete. So what we want to do is on all of the maps, we want the Atlas map and the bonus objective all to be complete. That will give us a point, and then it also will complete our maps. So just take, if you happen to have a bunch of these maps, go check out which ones you have, but it really doesn't matter too much. But go grab one that maybe you don't have already. So I just defeated some sort of enemy towards end, and it just dropped. But what you want to do is you do want to identify these. The reason why that now in the very beginning, a lot of them aren't that bad, but there are going to be like mods that will say like damage reflected, or they'll be like you cannot regenerate HP, or there's no leech, or there's these modifiers that will completely scuff up your build and you'll be dead instantly. So you actually have to read what are the modifiers on the map. Now, you can get what's called a hideout, and you can basically have your own area. If you talk to Helena, which is over here, you can select your hideout, and you can just go into your own hideout. It basically is a form of endgame content that has like your own little special area that you can put NPCs at, and you basically can add your own map device to it. But there's also these new things. We're going to talk more about this later. But as far as it goes, we want to put the map in here and click activate. Now, if we open up, I don't know if they actually show this off before you even do your first one. I think we might. Okay, there's the Atlas screen over here. So right now we don't have any of them completed. You can see if I mouse over them, there's 4 of them. The map to this, well, it's kind of grayed out here. You can't really see it. But if I complete Gardens, there's going to be another map that can be linked to it. And this map will drop the map that's adjacent to it. There's other ways that you can block, and you can do all these things with little stones. But for the most part, the most important thing is at the very end of the game, you should make your own hideout, but you can technically just use this one forever if you want. I wouldn't recommend it though. Just make your own hideout, and then choose the one that you've unlocked. If you need to unlock one, there's ones all over, but in Act 2 you can get them. Anyways, or you just look up how to unlock Path of Exile 1 hideout. But anyways, you have this map, and what you want to do, if you do not have it in blue, because if I mouse over, you'll see where it says bonus, kill boss of magic or higher version of this map. What that means is that you have to kill a boss that's higher or whatever rarity. Now it'll start off on blue. I have some of these extra currencies, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. So you don't want to run them white, especially in the earlier stages. They're going to be real easy. Later, you're going to have to make them rare, and then you're going to also have to corrupt them. Like, there's all these things that you're going to have to do, so make sure you read what it says on the Atlas. I think it's, is it Alt-G? Okay. But, yeah, by default. But, yeah, it'll tell you what you need to do on that specific map, because as you go higher in the number, you can see where it says Tier 1. If I mouse over this, you can also right-click on it, and it'll just basically snapshot to where the map is, and I'll do a map so you guys can see it. But this one's white, right? Remember how I was saying, like, you want the bonus, right? If I don't make it at least blue, we won't get the bonus. But if I use what's called Orbit Transmutation, and these are super cheap, or you can just purchase these maps from other players too if you run out. So now it's inhabited by Goatmen, so we get all these bonuses, but it essentially makes things harder. But if you run out of maps, that's another thing. What do you do? Well, you can go back and farm the campaign, but I'll be honest, no one's doing that. Everyone goes on the Path of Exile trade website and then buys maps from other players. But you can also go to Commander Kyrak. I think we're going to have to do one first, and then he'll actually trade us maps. Anyways, let's go do the first one over here. So we're going to go ahead and throw one of these in. It doesn't really matter. These ones aren't too hard, but you have to read. Again, sometimes there's going to be burning ground. There's going to be modifiers that your build cannot do. Right now my fire resistances are pretty scuffed, but let's go ahead and do this boss. So your goal in the very beginning, you don't have to kill, it says over on the top right, more than 50 remain. If you want to full clear the maps, you can do that. It's up to you. But I would really recommend in the very beginning with the white maps, because you're going to get so many, well, you should get so many, that you don't need to clear out all of them. Like, you don't have to do like what's called a full clear. You don't have to kill every single one. It's very rare that you're going to kill every single one. But if it says like less than 50 remain, then that's enough. Like, that's okay enough. Oh, this is one of my favorite shrines because it lets us go super fast. Alright. But our goal is to get to the end of the map by just defeating the boss. Once we defeat the boss, I'll show you guys what happens, and I'll show you the Atlas points, and I'll show you guys what I like to spec into. Since I am all about shrines for my build, that's what I'm going to build into for the build. And if you see some of these little different like interactions, if you want to go ahead and try them, go for it. It's pretty much items really only drop according to the like levels. You see where it says 68. The higher that it goes, the better the loot. But at some point, there is no more better loot, and it depends on like what you're trying to look for. But usually, item level like 81 is kind of like the standard. But there could be things where you want to go beyond it. Hopefully, these don't have freeze. Also, unlike PoE 2, you do not like immediately fail the map if you die once. It's not like over. I really don't like that system. I don't know why it's like that. But in PoE 1, you actually have several portals. If you get to the boss, you can always make a portal before. Otherwise, you may have to walk back. But this boss has a mechanic where there's these totems. Some bosses are special. If you ever get stuck on a boss, because some of them like genuinely like you wouldn't know what to do because you have to like activate certain things, and you have to like chase. You have to have this boss chase you to certain little like things. There's a lot of hard maps and there's unique maps. But now that we've completed this, we got an Atlas mission from Kyrak, but now we can get to go back. Now, if I want to clean up the enemies, sure, I can do it, but like I've got excess maps. It's really only on like higher tier maps or very special rolled ones where you really want to try to clear out more of them, but in the earlier stages, I really wouldn't worry about it too much. Again, you could trade these with players. But now that we've completed this, we have, well, it wants us to talk to Kyrak first, but... And when you speak to Kyrak, you can also purchase items from him. A lot of these are going to be maps. Again, holding down Alt will tell you if it's completed or incomplete, and they will cost orbs of chances. Now, sometimes you may see things that cost lots of chaos orbs. Sometimes it can be worth it to get it, but 9 times out of 10, honestly, it's going to be better to engage with trading with these with players or just getting these to drop. Now, in the Phrecia League specifically, there is one thing I have to mention. Now, again, I recommend going to your own hideout, but for the sake of this, since it's already here, I want to show you guys what you're going to be getting instead of Atlas points. Normally, you would have like these points that you would get, and then you'd be able to kind of spec into kind of what you want to do, whether that's rituals or if you want to do breach or any of those things. Instead of getting points, what you're going to be able to do is completing the bonuses will give you more sockets in your map. Basically, you have all of these little like sockets here, and you're going to get these things to drop called idols. These just are tradable that other players can get them, and you can trade them on the Path of Exile trade website, or you can get them to just drop by simply just killing enemies. Now, just as a heads up, these are unmodifiable, but a lot of these that I personally picked up, these were like 5 chaos and under. There are better ones than other, but I would recommend, honestly, if you have like 20, 30 chaos, buying a bunch of these earlier on can be good. Now, again, these are unmodifiable, so don't expect to be able to change them. I'm playing a build that is heavily reliant on shrines, so every one of these you'll pretty much just see that they have usually a shrine effect. Over here you can see this one has increased duration. You can also have chance for shrines to appear, but there's also like different things like chances to contain delirium, legion encounters. There's a lot of these other ones where you may not want. Ideally, you try to get the item that is super perfect, but again, since I am a shrine build, I'm going to want to get shrine things. If you are making a build that is all about a very specific mechanic, then you want to go ahead and purchase those with other players, as it significantly will help out your progress. This is a huge thing that you make sure that you want to do. And to unlock more of these, you just have to have all these things completed here, so you can see what the bonuses are. I might have more unlocked as I have played a little bit, as I was kind of expecting to get the Atlas here, but that doesn't exist in this league. But you can see I haven't really gone that far with this. I just wanted to go ahead and let let you guys know what the end game was kind of like. And pretty much at this point, your main goal is to also do your next lab. There's 2 more labs that you're going to be able to do if you've only done 2. There's a total of 4. And if you are following this as like kind of a guide here, the last 2 points, I would put them in over here so we get more damage per evasion rating, and then we're going to stack grace. I also technically have like my guide that was from previous leagues. Nothing has really changed in terms of the end game other than this. This is the most important thing to mention. And so if you want to follow any of my previous end game guides, they are all gonna work, because the only difference is, instead of getting the Atlas points, is this: there is no new boss as far as I am aware of in terms of like throwing in the idols to spawn in a new boss. So basically all the content's already ready for you guys to go ahead and consume. That way you guys can get to wherever you want faster. But one thing, regardless if you're playing my build or not, one thing that you can do, because a lot of these you can buy them for under 5 chaos, especially the blue ones where it only affects like shrine effects duration, or you can get extra shrines to appear on your map. You get an item called the goal, and you can absolutely, and I mean absolutely, blast. I'm going to go ahead and play some quick little gameplay for you guys. So I just want to share this gameplay with you guys real quick. Again, this is like basically as soon as I got to maps, I got the goal and started getting all those shrine things. And you can see you can go really, really fast. I have all of these like shrine effects above my head. It's actually really beginner friendly, and I would say relatively cheap to go ahead and get. The only expensive item would be a goal. You can get my build basically for a divine at this point, which is, again, very cheap. But yeah, just wanted to show you guys like kind of what the plans were for the build. I'll make a dedicated build video guide that goes into like the easier stages, kind of in the earlier stages, because again, this bow is not very good. It's just like a 6-link that just had high DPS. But your main sources of upgrades, by the way, if you're like, okay, I just got to maps, check to see if you have like 10-20 chaos orbs. Getting a 6-link in your weapon slot or in your chest piece, depending if you're playing two-handed or not. A bow counts as a two-handed. But like if you're playing something, that is going to be your big source of DPS upgrade in any sort of build. Also getting a high like evasion rating or like an armor or energy shield base is really key to getting your stuff up. And then also make sure you also check your resistances, as these may have actually changed. Chaos res, it's something that you can kind of invest into later, but do not forget chaos res. Now in Path of Exile you kind of need chaos res, but in the earlier stages, I know it's kind of just a rough thing to go ahead and get, but we'll obviously get a lot more upgrades in my build as well as more likely yours. But make sure you do not skip out on chaos res completely. Ideally you just get it maxed out, but I get it in the very beginning. It's kind of hard, so it's okay. Like I've been playing with negative 60 chaos res for a little bit, but once you start moving in the higher tiers of maps, especially on the red ones, yeah, you definitely don't want to skip out on that. But that's going to be my little introduction to the end game. Again, I'll have a link in the bio as well as in the pin for like the previous leagues, and the reason why is because there is, as far as I'm aware of, no new bosses. I have all that stuff already ready for you guys to go, so I don't have to like go complete it and re-render it out, so it'll be ready for you guys. But anyways, that's kind of your introduction to the end game. I may upload some more videos regarding this later down the line in terms of like the build and stuff, but anyways, that's going to be like the introduction to the end game for PoE 1 for Phrecia League.